Right. Hello. Welcome to the thing. Right, some housekeeping things first. This is getting recorded. It will end up on YouTube or something afterwards. I will probably be semi-half ignoring chat, just so that we can get through the things, and then I'm going to go back and answer questions or whatever in bulk, so if I don't reply to you straight away, then... Oh, the irony of that notice. So yeah, if I don't reply to you straight away, yeah, we'll get to it. Promise. Yeah, basically, there's no sounds or raid alerts or anything happening today. I'll go through those at the end. I will notice them, I just won't respond to them. But, anyhow, hi, it me. Yay. Yeah, exactly. It'll be questions times later, or just after each feature, or whatever seems appropriate as we go. There's a link. Wow, that was a good start. There's a link over there. The top one is the PhantomBot website. The bottom one is a link to their Discord. So those are things, stuff, and things. We're gonna sort of go through this, and I'm gonna try not to make too much of a mess as we go along. Yay, stuff, things. Anyway, so introducing PhantomBot. So for those who don't actually know what PhantomBot is a Twitch chat. I'm slightly surprised why you'd be here if you didn't know. But anyway, PhantomBot is a Twitch chatbot which can be used for custom commands, moderations, notices, timers, all sorts, games, stuff, and things. We're not going to go through every single thing it can possibly do because I have to go to work tomorrow morning. We are going to go through as much of the sort of general things and stuff that it can do as we possibly can. And I need hydration already, apparently. Let's not crack that open on stream. There we are. Okay. So, first things first. You're going to... And I've done some of this in advance, so I won't be able to show it to you. You need to have a separate bot account. It's not entirely necessary to be a different account, but it's highly recommended for reasons of Twitch rate limits and weirdness like that. So you'll see my bot is called Dark Insanities. I am Dark Insanities. Yes, people get that confused a lot. It's amusing to me, so I keep it. But in any case, you will want a separate account for all intents and purposes. Then you will want to go to the PhantomBot website. This is the PhantomBot website. It's quite pretty. Which is phantom.bot. I can do directions. The one on the left there. It will take you to this page. There's also a community help forum, documentation and stuff. But for getting hold of it, this is the page we want. I'm pointing up myself page. That won't help. This is the page we want. So there's a nice handy download link. There's lots of information and stuff. But if we want to just download it, download button right here. Not going to do this on stream. I did actually prepare some of this in advance. Shock. Horror. But yeah, so you'll get this one here. Click download. That will download you a zip folder. If you have never unzipped a folder before, unzip the folder. Lol. Right, which will take you to... Where are we? This one. So you may not be able to see this very well, but what you can see... I can't move it. No, I can make this bigger. Extra large icons. Large icons. So what you'll see, this is what the folder looks like when you first download it and have unzipped it. Don't forget the unzipping. The unzipping is important. So you've got obviously all these folders. The important one here, yes, this is a valid point. This is Windows setup. This is for people who are running a bot locally on their own computer and are not trying to do something more complicated with it. Like my bot personally runs on a virtual private server. It's not running locally on my computer, so a bit different to setup. The functioning after we get through this bit is the same, and this is Windows setup. So yeah, I should probably have said that. Thank you. He codes too much. Also, He Codes Too Much is also a community helper for the bot. We both are. That's why he has a little diamond next to his name today. He does in fact know what he's talking about. But yeah, so from this stage, and we've done this all really cleverly, I'm actually going to turn this off in a sec, but you want that launch one there. If you're looking at file extensions, it will say launch.bat. So if we do this, that should, hey, there we are, capture it. So this is initial setup. And that has suddenly just jumped in size. That's really unhelpful. There we are. So that is the initial setup of the bot, and it will pop up with this here, and it will ask you these, and hopefully you can read that well. If not, it doesn't matter because I will read out anything important. And it will check what your OS is. Well, in this case, it says PhantomBot has detected that your device is running Windows, and it will send you directly a link to the Windows setup guide. So if you do need additional help and stuff, then this will take you straight to that page. Obviously, for different operating systems, you'll get different setup guides for those. And that brings us to our first question. Please enter the bot's Twitch username. So, in the case of my bot, for example, this will be not your account, this is the account you're running your bot off. Some people do it the same, but as we said, not really recommended. So, in this case, we're going to do Dark Insanities, that's my bot's name. You should be able to see this reasonably well. I've tried to make it as big as convenient. But yeah, so you'll get that and enter, goodie. Now, in order to actually type or function as the bot, obviously you need a token to let that work. Thank you, Richie. It is readable. You need a token to let that work. And it does give you the web address there, twitchapps.com/TMI. Now, you will need to go to that website logged in as your bot. Incognito mode is your friend at this point, so you don't have to just log out and log back in and everything. I'm not going to go to that whole website and stuff. It's literally go to it, click to log in and stuff, get an OAuth token. I'm not going to do that because showing your own OAuth token on stream is a really bad idea. So, something random. You'll see it will show up as an OAuth : numbers, letters, randomness. But we're going to go with something random here because it will be. Second one you need will be your own channel. This is a slightly different page, and it's the OAuth page from the PhantomBot website, which you can actually get to directly from our homepage. So if we just bring this back up again, and then at the top here you have, oh good, that is the right way around, integrations and then Twitch OAuth, and you can go straight to that. And I'll turn that one off before it decides to just show my thing on screen. No, it will ask you to connect, and then obviously you can just, well, connect. And it will give you OAuth, and you paste that in here. Basically. GMT, hey GMT. Also very correct. If you copy the bot, if you use copy from website control, so you can right click in the window to paste that in. Hey GMT. Yes, so things. Something else. That should probably technically shouldn't have any spaces in it, but whatever. Something else, he says, then immediately typing another space. The GMT, by the way, anyone in chat is also a clever person. So also listen to him. He also knows what he's talking about. So anyway, we have both our OAuths. Please enter the name of the Twitch channel the bot should join. This is your channel, or in my case, it's my channel. So there we are. Dark Insanities. Hi. And then, so this is where it gets, sometimes people get a little confusing for these ones. Please enter a custom username for the web panel. Because this is not a web-hosted system, it's not essentially like most of the ones people know, Moobot, Nightbot, Streamlabs, Cloud Chatbot, etc. This is your own separately hosted little thing. So, yeah, this is your custom username for it, for which I am going to use Party Hard, mostly to wind up a friend if he ever watches this. And then it will ask you for a custom password. Yeah, it's a little bit more complex. I don't think I've ever actually done a Streamlabs chatbot setup, so I can't speak to that side of things. Incidentally, you shouldn't use anything particularly recognizable for this. Obviously, this is welcome to the internet, standard internet security. So let's just set new build when as the password. PhantomBot will then start launching, and it will just launch straight in from that first time setup. Except in this case, it's not going to, because I haven't used an actual OAuth token, but we'll see that in a sec. And it will go through all of these. And it actually has the error here. Twitch indicated login failed, change OAuth password. And it gives you a link there for one of the help topics, and then it all shuts down. That's just because I didn't use the right OAuth token. That would go through normally otherwise, but again, we're not showing that on stream. I have a separate build which is in a folder I've called Blue Peter, because reasons. And this is pre-set up, and I've got the bot login text file there already. No database. I've never run this one before, so we're gonna run this one and go through actual when it's running stuff. So if we run this now, again, you'll see it goes through, does all the setup. You'll see all that. Give it a moment. And at this point, it will say at the bottom, Dark Insanities ready. Good. And it will now show up in your chat. It might take Twitch a few minutes to notice because Twitch, but it is now showing up in your chat. It validated your OAuth tokens and the like, so it's now working, basically. Now, everything you can do in the bot can be done through chat commands. And that will cover pretty much everything you want. There is a page which is full of basically all of the commands and stuff. There's probably a few bits which are out of date, but it covers pretty much everything. And there's a link to that in the channel now. But if you search in there for what you're trying to do, you will probably find what you need. However, we're going to go to the panel instead and look through the panel because I can sort of show and talk at the same time. Introducing the first part of the panel, which is actually not the panel. You've got basically, when you run it, because it's running locally on your computer, you address it locally. So if we actually look at the web address of this one, it is localhost 25000, which is the default port it uses. If you haven't changed anything, that's what it will be. If you want a more detailed explanation, we're getting beyond the realms of this, and I mean, I can give it to you, but later, because yeah. And you'll get these options, and you can just click launch PhantomBot control panel, and it will take you straight there. After you've typed your password and username, possibly not in that order. New build when ? And this is when it turns out I have to fix it. There we are. Now, welcome to the bot. And no, we're not going to say the password, thank you. Very first thing you want to do when you reach this panel, I'm going to zoom in a little bit actually. At the top on the right, you'll see this gear here, and underneath that, you'll see the option dark mode. That's the very first thing you do. Without fail, this is the first thing you do, right? First, no questions, go there, do that immediately. Good. There's some customization bits here. On my own panel, I don't actually have my stream showing here. I have a chat, but I don't have a stream. Also, you can click to hide these numbers, the views, the followers, etc. If you want to. I don't care, so I'm not going to. If you do wish to hide your Twitch chat or player, then there's a button right there to do so. Just boop, boop, and you can also modify the sorting of the events here. Again, that's entirely up to personal preference, that side of things and stuff. That's just cosmetics. Which brings us to part one. You've got your stream information here. If the bot is an editor on your channel, you can change it from there. Otherwise, you can just see what's already there. If you want to set the bot up as an editor, that's in Twitch permissions and the like. So, yeah, you can go and do it through there. And I believe you need to have your second API key correct as well, but that should be basically all you need there. Incidentally, you can collapse this menu if you ever really want to. Oh, is it the streamer's OAuth it uses now? So yeah, make sure that second one is correct. It used to be. I get mixed up. But yeah, so here we are. That's your just dashboard. A lot of people keep this open. You can keep on chat. You can keep it on your stream, events list. You can also incidentally run any command on the bot, any custom command on the bot from here and do nasty things to users, or not so nasty. Permit, shout out, raid, host. and you can do stuff through that. Yeah. Anyway, that's the dashboard. It's got convenient stuff right there. I'm gonna sort of go through these in order because we won't miss anything at that point. Not seen any questions either so far, which makes this really helpful. But yeah, so if we jump over here, this is your commands tab. So the stuff you do exclamation something for. It comes pre-done with a few, pre-done commands. And right now, if you were to type any of those in chat, it should. The coder wants me to do the settings module first. This is actually probably a good idea. We'll be right back. Okay, so settings modules, settings section we have at the bottom here because that's where the settings live. To use Delta Fire Dragon, the bot is not that complex once it's set up. The setup is where people tend to fall over. After that, it's generally just a case of knowing where to look, and not typing the wrong thing. But yeah, to very briefly go through the settings menu, you hand log basically everything which goes through. Logging events and errors, especially the errors, is just helpful for troubleshooting if something goes wrong. Logging chats, pretty much up to you. So you can log all of them and it will just clear them after however long. Message output, there's a few relevant ones here. Mute all bot replies except for timeouts, which is currently what my main bot has done, so we don't get confused. If a bot says something in chat today, you know it's this one. Except for that very first message because I forgot. Then you have whisper mode and action mode. Whisper mode will try and send everything in whispers. Action mode will always start with that /me. That's that way. For cameras are confusing. Very briefly that. Commands, you can get various different warning or notification messages if you don't have permission, if it's on cooldown, or if you don't have enough points. There is a point system in the bot. Surprise, surprise. Moderators get exemptions if you wish, or you can just turn them off and make them earn their way like everyone else. Incidentally, the two permissions above moderator, which is the broadcaster, obviously, and administrator, which is basically moderator plus, and you don't necessarily ever need to give that to someone. The bot has it, and effectively you have it. You don't really need to give anyone permissions unless it's sort of things are a bit more complex. One of the best way of putting it, if you have someone who does manage stuff like that for you, it's worth it. But you don't necessarily need to. Administrators and the broadcaster are always exempt from cooldowns and are always exempt from command costs. You can't turn that off. Lol Colossus and Hi Colossus. And then global cooldown for every command which doesn't have something overriding it. Yeah, the title changing, as the coder suggests. You would set to admin so that your mods are not trolling you, because that would totally never happen, right? But yeah, global cooldown for anything other than the like stuff you haven't set something specific for. It's everything else. And a couple more down here. Modules. You will find so the bot splits. The bot is modular. So you can have one part of it enabled and one part not. And this is quite literally a list of every module in a bot. And you've got the command-specific stuff, the game-specific stuff, handlers, and systems, which, yeah, we'll come into a lot of them later on. And we may be visiting this page again just to turn some stuff on if we need to. There is Discord integration. That's outside the scope of this video. It's somewhat more... I don't want to say complex, but it's a bit more technical, and we're not going to cover that here. Then localization. Localization is a really nice one. So it's also quite new and awesome. Every single response the bot gives you at any point can be customized, and this is where you do that from. So if we jump into... Let's jump into custom. Let's jump to def counter because that's one I actually modified my own bot, and click edit. This will load every line it shows. Now the lang ID doesn't always, this is a bit more technical, but it's part of the feature of the awesome customization, and therefore we're showing it quickly. And basically you can see if you add something successfully, that's the response it will give. And this is exactly how it reads from a file, so you will find it's not exactly telling you exactly what everything says, but that's exactly what it says in the file and what it pulls back. So def counter none, for example, this is the streamer has not died in game yet. and so on. And you can edit any of these. I'll just add disappointing, for example. Edit that, and it will edit that, and then save. Saving is important because otherwise you do a lot of work and suddenly it's no longer there. And this will automatically save a custom language file which should then persist through updating a bot, as opposed to the default stuff which sort of gets overwritten as we go. That does pretty much cover all of the settings. There's a brief help bit here, which is if something breaks, basically, if you're looking for assistance. PhantomBot version, useful. These bits here basically are all useful, as is the version of your browser if necessary, if it's panel related. But yeah, that's just some useful information there. So yeah, custom commands. And it comes preset with a few like here. Like if you type follow age, it will tell you how long you've been following the channel. If you're not following the channel, I'm tragically disappointed. Playtime title, it's fairly self-explanatory what all of these do. You'll notice these bits in brackets, they will pick up specific things. So point to user will always point at you. So if I, for example, type game in channel, then it will mention me at the beginning, and it will say what current game is and how long I've been playing it, and so on. I have been on Twitch a long time. Not the longest I've technically been on Twitch, but whatever. And these are the default ones. Obviously, you can remove these if you want. You don't have to. You can always add them back again, of course. And then, of course, if you click the Add Command button, you'll get this little window up. Command. For example, you don't need to include the exclamation. PhantomBot response. I haven't pre-prepared any text, so whatever. PhantomBot is a Twitch bot. I can't spell, it's fine. Whatever, I'm not making something extensive because I could type it out more. You have an advanced panel option here for if you want to set it as a points cost, and we'll cover points later, then that's done here. Or reward, which is backwards, and obviously then you've got your cooldown here, which you can match to the global one, or you can specify, I don't know, 5 minutes, just to avoid the spam, right? If you untick this as global, then it's a per user cooldown. So right now, as it is, everyone could use that command once every 5 minutes. If I check global, one person can use it for 5 minutes, and then everyone's locked out for the next 5 minutes. And it just works like that for spam control. Basically, we save that, and it will show up right here. So if someone types PhantomBot in chat now, you will see that message respond. We can see that's happening, and then no one will be able to use it for the next 5 minutes, except me, because as mentioned, the broadcaster, the administrator, it doesn't. The broadcast administrator never have cooldowns applied to them, and if we wanted to see that message, which one am I looking for? Commands. Enable cooldown messages. Let's just turn that one on, and we'll turn that one as well for the future. There you are. So if you try again PhantomBot now, you should get a message back in chat saying it's still on cooldown. And it won't for me, so I can't demonstrate it. There you are. PhantomBot is still on cooldown for 270 seconds, for example. And you can set that to whisper as well. That whisper mode we were mentioning earlier would whisper you that message, so you can customize control how much bot spam there is. All of those utility messages will try and whisper it to you if you turn that mode on. And yeah, you can also search for this as well by content as well. So I can search, no I can't, uptime, and that will find that. Everything which says point to user, you can find those, and so on and so on. There's a button. The button here will take you to the forum. Ta-da! And this is literally a list of the command variables you can use. If you put that in the actual command name, this is what will happen, and it's got the details of all of those there, basically. And you can implement a lot of these: current viewers, the status, game you're playing, account, which will literally just count up every time that command gets used. Specific stuff which doesn't show up in chat, offline only, online only. You can set game-specific commands, so where are we? Yeah, most of them. There's a few which we added since, but game-only, for example, command will only run if you're actually playing that game. There's a user-only, which does exactly the same thing, but only if it's the user, and so on. So that's all sort of useful. I'm recording the entire thing Colossus for YouTube's. So it will be preserved, don't worry. That's basically the standards of custom commands. You can, of course, however, alias anything you want. So to take that PhantomBot one, let's just alias this. So the alias is going to be PB, and the command will be PhantomBot. We'll save that. Suddenly you have an alias. So if we now type PB in chat, ta-da, that command will fire again. PB will inherit the cooldown time of the original command. So when you do PB again, it will trigger the same thing, basically. So you don't need to worry about using aliases to get around and circumvent cooldowns. Then there's the default command section. So this is stuff which is already in the bot, not the stuff you've created yourself. There's a fair few of them. There's 85 currently. I haven't turned every module on, so stuff which the module isn't even turned on, it won't show up in here. So were we to go and turn some stuff on, that would feed back. But the basics are here. So addcom, for example, is for adding a custom command. And these are the chat commands of it, not the panel versions of it. So if I want to add a command here, let's just call it addcom test yay. Then that will go through and test will now do that. Some commands do have more circumvention. That is true for various reasons. But the details here you can see is mostly the moderator level, and you can see these advanced settings for cost, for reward, for cooldown. You don't get to customize the text of it here because it's not a custom command. If you want to change that, you need to find the page in localization. Yes, some song request is one of those. And probably the most important thing here is a cooldown, but probably secondly the user level required. So if someone who isn't a mod could type addcom, you'll get a permissions reply saying no, basically. And it will just tell you you don't have the necessary rank for this. There you are. You do not have access to this command. Only moderator or higher can access it. So there we are. Never. And you can see some different ones here. If we administrator, which is moderator plus, because they probably should be the only ones having full control over your blacklist, and yourself, of course. Bot commands, you know, you've got the different options here. Viewers, for example, any viewer can type the commands command, and you'll get that full option. While we're looking at this screen, actually, to review the permissions list, the permissions list is approximately caster, me, I've got a little red badge next to my name that says I'm the streamer. Administrators, your moderators plus bot defaults to this. If you want to give other people that access, that's on you, let's put it that way. Moderators, which it will automatically pick up. You don't have to manually set this when someone's typing in chat. It will pick up a moderator. Subscribers, same thing. It will pick it up based on the chat details. Donators, which is specifically for if you have integration with one of the donation services, Streamlabs obviously being the most common of them, and there's setup details for that as well. There's a little bit of a link in that you have to do. Hosters is actually, this is actually not going to be hosters for long, because in the next version, I want to say, not actually making any promises there, that's going to be changing to VIPs, because we don't really use hosters. And that will be changing to VIPs, just so you can give them a slightly higher permission. Regulars, which we will cover when I get to time. Yeah, it's in the current nightly builds, and presumably therefore the next major build, but not this one, because this is the stable build, which we downloaded earlier. And then viewers is everyone. Regulars will cover a bit more in detail when we get to that system. Yeah, so that is basically your selection of commands, custom or otherwise, all over. If we look at moderation, which, let's be fair, is possibly the most important part of the bot, is how exactly we how exactly the bot is moderated. And incidentally, the bot has a flood control built into it. It won't send more than 17 messages per minute because Twitch. So what you will find sometimes, if it's a busy chat, or something like that, then you might have more people firing off bot messages and stuff than you can deal with. It will always do moderation first. Everything else will get stacked up into a queue and it will catch up as it can if it hits that limit. Moderation will always jump straight to the front of that queue because it's sort of important, right? Useful to know. And we can turn some filters on here. And I'm wondering which ones I should turn on to start breaking things. Let's take a look at the caps filter. And you just turn it on to start with. And then you can go into the detailed settings. You can have a warning message, which again is entirely customizable, or you can have no warning at all. The warning duration is your timeout. The second offense and any future is the timeout duration. You can set these to 0, which will just delete the message, which we're actually going to do here because this could go badly wrong otherwise. If you set it to -1, then it will immediately just ban you, which we're not going to do for, someone's overused caps banned. Seems a bit extreme. The timeout reason is sort of like the Twitch internal side of it. The warning message is a bit which actually goes into chat. And then you have in pretty much all of these, you have some sort of customization on how many caps you need to actually have. Valid point for each, valid point. We can unban them again. And, so in this case, you'd need to have to check at least 20 capital letters in a message before it will start looking to see if it's actually breaching the rules. And then the maximum allowed in percentage. So basically you've got the fine tuning there, and then regulars and subscribers can be excluded from that. Subscribers go wild. And you have similar ones. So links is, links. And you can see these settings before you turn it on, by the way. So we can change these and just set that to ban everyone who dares to post a link, except regulars and subscribers because I like those people. Save that. Does it not do it for that one? No. I apologise. It does not do the ban except on the blacklist. I tell a lie. The ban option only works on the blacklist currently, I believe. It doesn't go through in here, or it doesn't go through on the panel. Now with link settings, there's actually a bonus option here. There is a built-in command called !permit, which mods can use. And, it's basically exactly what it says. You will not get timed out for the set time here. So you can post a link. So it's no links. But let's say he goes too much, wants to post a link. He'll send it to a mod. Yes, fine, this link is okay, it's happy. !permit, you may post the link. And, it's obviously just that level of bonus customization. The other ones, spam is for repeating characters, paragraph filter, too long messages, which is actually strange because Twitch has like a 500 character limit anyway, so it does it itself. And then emotes, spam, fake purge for people who seem to think that this is funny. Symbols, me, and then user moderation, which is basically flood control. If you're sending too many messages, basically, if you send if you send 30 messages in 30 seconds, then it will boop you for a while and say chill. I don't actually use any of these on my bot because I'm fine with basically all of this. I've never had that issue personally. Maybe one day I will, but for the moment I've never had that issue. Whitelist and blacklist are fairly obvious. Whitelist is stuff which will never be timed out for. For example, if you have links blocked in the channel, you might want to have clips.twitch. I can spell .twitch whitelisted, so that doesn't get shot as soon as you do that. Especially Overwatch players, because Diva is a pain to type, and you might want to just do that. Blacklist is of course the opposite. Regardless of other rules, it will get timed out. And this one, it should let you, there we are, -1 will ban the user. So this one, there we are, timeout duration, -1, banned. And obviously you've got the phrase there. Now, this one, for those who want to go a bit more advanced, does enable you to use regex. We're not going to go into regex and how to use it here because, firstly, it gives me a headache trying to work it out. And secondly, it's slightly more advanced, but if you want to be using regex, then you can do that and it will process that through regex. Otherwise, it's just the name, so we can, I don't know, pizza. Let's blacklist pizza. No, we can't blacklist pizza because that's terrible. We're not going to add it. If you type that word, you will be banned. We're not going to do that. With the messages and stuff there. And again, you can also exclude regulars and subscribers. And you can basically do that. Again, you can also have the silent option here for not actually putting a warning in chat. So, obviously, for some stuff, it might be malicious links. If you have a known blacklist of malicious links, then you can just blacklist that. They get banned straight out, and they don't get to see. No one ever gets to see that it happened at all. I should blacklist pineapple pizza. What I literally have an emote for. Bad idea. And so and the timeout reason has to be there, but that's the moderator reason, not the in-chat one. And again, you've got these exclude options here. And that's basically how you can do that. All of those can also be done through commands. I personally find it easier to do it through the panel, but you know, if you're doing something on the fly to tidy up later, perhaps you do it through commands, clean up later. But I personally prefer to use the panel. That's just me. And we have a permissions list here. So this is not command permissions, this is user permissions. So the bot is noticing in chat, obviously, because the bot's reading chat. It will see who's around. And you will notice 5 people on this list. First thing to note about this, it does not by default list viewers, normal viewers who are not in any of those other groups. And again, the VIPs will show up on this list when that's implemented in the next version or 2, whenever, new build when. But you will find everyone else in this list. So, for example, for 3 subscribers who have shown up in chat, 2 subscribers and a moderator who also subscribed. 2 subscribers have shown up in chat, 1 moderator, and then me and the bot. Yeah, exactly like Kcuff, who's currently in chat, does not show up here. And then you've got these 2 here, which is me and the bot. You can change any of these, so I can demote Freechy from moderator to subscriber. Moderator's a special one. It won't properly work. It will pick up that he's a mod again. But what we can do is then search for someone. For example, Kcuff, and then you can just set their permission manually, which is mostly used for regulars. And you can do that, and Kcuff will now show up here, might get access to some extra commands, might be able to dodge half that moderation, you know. And you can do that with everyone. My actual user list on my actual panel is slightly longer. But that's... and you can just do that there. And if you want to remove them, you can just reset Kcuff's permissions to viewer. Yes, bye. And you can just do that, basically. And that will work for everyone. Again, this list is entirely searchable, so if we're looking for sniper, there you are. Wow, he codes. Way to jump ahead. Jeez. That's like right down here. We'll get... Wow, jumping. And so, next thing is timers, also known as notices, repeated messages, basically. So if we turn this one on, because a lot of these are turned off by default to keep the bot as light as possible, so you will find you need to turn them on to actually start using them, which can catch people out. If you're using chat commands and the module isn't actually turned on, it won't necessarily respond. Another reason I like the panel, and that's just because of how that works. You don't have that obvious interface in chat, obviously. So timers, you have some basic settings to start with. These are also hypothetically being sort of currently rewritten, but as the bot works right now, you have these settings here. So timer interval after 10 minutes, the bot will say something in chat. Required messages. It won't say something unless at least 25 lines have gone through in chat, not from a bot, since the last message. But yeah, so in this case, as these settings go, no more than every 10 minutes and no more than every 25 messages. As soon as it's been that long and as soon as it's been that many messages, the next timer will go into chat. You can also have these as to be turned on in offline chat or not. Or just on live, and we'll save that as it is. And then obviously you can go to add the timer, and this is literally, well, exactly that, literally just a message. I'm disappointed we can't click that to just use that because I'm lazy. Timers, like that, and you can just add something like that. If you want to add a command, because when I first started using it, I would have commands, and then I would have copied the text and put it into a timer separately, and you have the same thing twice. Then I'd change something in the command slightly, and forget to change the timer, and it just wasn't matching up. Much easier way of doing that now. Command, colon, no spaces here, PhantomBot, for example. That means when that timer hits, it will just run that command, so now you have one place you can change it, and it's wonderful. So that's a thing. What else? And you can set up as many of these as you want. And it will just basically tick through them. And there is a rewrite at some point, unconfirmed. When, incidentally, everyone who works on this bot is a volunteer. No one gets paid for this. It's no one's full-time job. So, yeah, things are done when it's possible. Not, when people aren't working on this full-time, everyone has full-time jobs or whatever. This is entirely voluntary. So, yeah. Don't go and yell at people. But yeah, so that's the timers. And these will basically, tick through the list. That's going to be a bit more customizable in the future, but for the time being, this is what you'll get. And actually, let's turn these settings down. I'm going to spam my chat just for the purposes of, let's say 2 minutes and 5 messages. And yes, that's going to start spamming chat, but we're doing a demonstration, so it's fine. Which brings us to alerts. Oh, look, a timer. Such timing. But yeah, so then we have alerts. And these are things which are triggered by something else automatically, is the fairly simple way of describing it. And that was not really a simple way of describing it. But yeah, some of the more obvious ones, and you will have to turn these ones on before you can settings them. But follower alerts is exactly what it sounds like. You've got some tags in here, name and reward. Reward is the point system, which we'll get to in the next section. Yeah, so you get so-and-so's just followed the channel, yay. And you have to turn them on in here and so on. The reward and the delay before it actually posts it in chat. Which might be if you have other alerts and stuff happening relative to it. If you have something on the screen and you want to wait. Subscriber alerts, does exactly the same thing. It's a bit more in depth because you have so many different types of subscription now. The standard subscription, prime subscription, resubscription, gifted, anonymous gifted, multiple anonymous gifts or non-anonymous, and so on and so on. And you can customize every single one of these. I, to be honest, just copy and paste the same thing for most of them. But you can do that, and you can also trigger a remote to show up. Mine is a pizza remote because, of course, it is. And you can trigger that emote. One thing you want to be aware of that one, I did have the emote at the beginning and end of the message, and then it breached Twitch's character limit. So people, which is strange. I had that much resub, but yeah, so that's a thing to consider. And if you want to name your plans, this is just within the bot naming the plans, then you can do that here. Like tier 1 is, or tier 3, master, expert, apprentice, whatever, I don't know, I'm terrible at naming things. But yeah, you can do that there as well. Host alerts, raid alerts, you have pretty much all of these. Greeting alerts are basically it's if someone shows up in chat, they will automatically get welcomed the message as soon as the bot notices them. This does not work for global. This has to be set by the person. So it could work for global, but then it would start calling out everyone who lurks in the chat, which is no. So people can, if they wish to, opt in basically and set their own message, and obviously you have to be happy with that message, but they can't just say whatever they want because then your bot starts shouting out terrible things. But they can set the message, and there is a cooldown. It has to be at least 5 hours for the longer streams and type stuff. If you spend 10 hours a day streaming, then you'll probably want to set this to 12 hours or something, right? And you can set that to however you want it. If you have one, Streamlabs, Tippy Stream, and Stream Elements, and Twitter all need those relative integrations integrated, which is outside of the scope of this video, so there are guides to those on the forums, and they're fairly simple, but they require jumping in and editing a few files and stuff on the bot login text, which is what you set up at the beginning. And I'm not going to do that because then it puts my API key on screen for everyone, which we won't be doing. Clip alerts, fairly self-explanatory, host alerts, and so on. And then raid alerts, again, of course, you can set up to do a raid. It requires you to have a hacker man. And you can just set that up as well, which is all basically stuff which is triggered automatically, right? Which brings us to the loyalty section. So there are two types of loyalty bot tracks. One is chat currency, one is chat time. This is the currency page. Now, I don't personally use points in my channel because I can never find anything I want to use them for. But, you know, obviously points and games and stuff are quite popular with people. So the settings for all of the currency is here. You can name your currency. You can trigger how often you have payouts. So it's not a constant tick. It will be, with these default settings, the points are called point and points. Lol rush. To slap people with. Yeah. Payout intervals. So this says every 10 minutes it will give this much, and you can have this set separately for online and offline. 0 just disables it, so it doesn't pay out offline. So as this is currently set, every 10 minutes, everyone in chat will get 1 point. If I set this to every 5 points, for example, then it's every 10 minutes they'll get 5 points. If I do that, then it's every hour you get 5 points. And so you have to keep in mind the difference in that. And obviously, the interval might cut out people who just drop in and out for a minute or two. The payout amount is how much they actually get. Oh, look, a timer. The payout amount is how much they actually get. There's also a command for a top list, and you can have that list the most loyal people. And an active bonus. So if you've been talking in chat, if the bots recognise you've talked between payouts, it will give you a bonus. So active bonus 10. Anyone who's actually talking and not just lurking every 60 minutes right now will get bonus 10 points. Congratulations to you all. You know, just to encourage chat interaction, right? Down here, very briefly, there's a penalty one. If someone's... No, that is extra points active users get. Sorry. Yeah. This is literally just numerical active users, so it will be every 60 minutes you'll get 5 points plus 10 if you've said anything in that time. And obviously you want to consider that, because if I turn that down to 10 minutes again, not 100, then suddenly you're getting a lot more active points if you're chatting consistently, right? And it's, you know, there's a bit of maths involved in that, I suppose, but it depends. You know, you need to think about how often you want things updating and how much and the like. It allows for a lot of tuning, so consider that. The penalty is exactly what it sounds like. You can pick someone who just will not gain points for however long. There's an exclamation penalty command in chat to do the same thing for the mods. If someone's being stupid and spamming commands or whatever, and it just stops from gaining any points. So you can time them out. Basically timing out without timing out. Then over here we can see who and has how many points. So if we try K-Huff again, because we're going to, and then get, it will find how many points he has. Congratulations, you have none. Doesn't that count for timeouts as well? If someone is timed out of your chat, that's a separate thing. It doesn't automatically penalise them from getting bots. They will still show up in the chat list, and will therefore still get still get points. Unless they're banned, I believe, because banned they shouldn't show up in Twitch's chat list. I would honestly have to check that one. Lol Colossus, I am actually going to go and turn these off again now because they'll get irritating, but you get the point. If they have just been timed out, or the message is deleted, they will continue to accrue points because they still show up in the chat list. If someone's been completely banned from a channel, I don't believe they show up from a chat list, and therefore they shouldn't get points. There is another feature of that which we will discuss later, called ignore bots, which we can go into some conversation about later as well for that one. But yeah, so you can, on the currency manager, get someone's username. So like you said, KSUF, get their points. Oh look, you have 0 points, and then you can just manually set it. Congratulations, you're rich. And if we track this again now, then I'll screw up the name. There we are. And suddenly, 1,000. You're rich, KSUF. Congratulations. The other option here is you should be able to use that command. Strange. Unless that command isn't turned on. Exactly, Rush. The currency bonus, you can literally just give everyone some bonus points. And the options you have here, you can set the amount of bonus time, which basically means for the next, so that'll be why. For the next so many minutes, that's how long the bonus will last. So it's the number of payouts here. So if payout interview is 10 minutes, and you want to set this for 2 payouts, effectively to 20. That's minutes, and you'll get an extra 100 currency. Each of those updates. Or you can just give a flat amount to everyone, or make it rain. So you take a certain amount of points, let's say 1,000, make it rain. And again, because the points hasn't been enabled, so let's do that now. Modules. Oh, points. Duh. Point system. Turn that on. And again, like we say, some stuff is turned off to start with. So if we try this now, 1,000, make it rain. Everyone gets a bonus of up to 1,000 points. That takes that block of points and just dishes it out equally. And there you are, cake off. And so on and so on. The points is, however, much more fine-tuned than that. You can change the number of points people get per rank. So, and this is split into online and offline. We'll ignore one side, and it's basically where rank viewers get so much regular. You can set it so regulars and subscribers basically get more. Incidentally, if you want your moderators to get the same as subscribers, you will need to set that the same. The moderator is not recognized as a subscriber just because of the way the bot processes permissions. So if you want your mods and subscribers to get the same, and you do that, if you leave it as -1, it will stay at that default payout amount of 5. But let's say subscribers, you actually get 20 every payout. Regulars, you can have 10. And you can just do that. So every 10 minutes for subs will now get 20 points. For regulars will now get 10 points. And everyone else will just get that 5. And you can just do that, which is, again, a nice bit of a bonus for people. Yeah. Which brings us to time. So on top of the points, the bot is also tracking how long you've been on the channel. And how much time you've actually spent in chat. Now, this is a little bit subjective because it's dependent on the information that Twitch sends, right? If Twitch doesn't know you're in the channel for whatever reason, the bot's not going to notice because it's basically just reading the chat list. So it will not necessarily be exact down to the minute. But it's moderately approximate. Now, first of all, you have a time zone and you have a list of codes for those time zones. And it just uses that when calculating dates and times, like GMT for the win. Time offline, no, is my personal preference, and it's just if you're in the chat when it's offline, lurking there 24/7, do you get time added? Lol, Colossus, I will actually check. And there's a couple of options here for auto-promote users to regular. So if you have been in the chat with default for 50 hours, you will immediately and automatically get promoted up to regular. You won't get promoted down if you sub or whatever, but if you're just a viewer, you immediately get promoted to regular just for being around for that long. And obviously you can also have it automatically announced, which you may or may not want. That's, sort of personal preference. I actually turned it off when the bot started getting that. And then similar to the points, you've got a list, top time, and it will show you that. So number you can show, so you can do top time in the list, and it will show you the top number of people, except it won't because I don't have the module turned on. Again, I can spell. Hold on, why is it not time system? I do not know why that's not showing up. Ah, no, top command. There you go. Yeah, it's core. I always get that one mixed up because it confuses me. Yeah, that one's core. There we are, fixed up. And that one's resulting in hours, but it is actually calculating it properly. It's just not reading out the individual minutes. Incidentally, that's a list of people who are here early. You can also then obviously do the same thing with points. You can get Freachy, for example, get his time, and he's been here for 2,640 seconds. Congratulations. And you can set that to whatever you want and set it back to 0, for example. Lol Colossus, you pay me? You also then have this leaderboard, which is exactly what it sounds like, and does exactly what you'd expect. It sorts everyone by the amount of currency they have and the amount of everyone by how long they've been in the stream. Oh no, Freachy's only been here for 60 seconds now. No, John Sugar, I cannot make it give you specifically triple points. But yeah, so you have these options. This is literally exactly what it sounds like. If you want to have the leaderboard and show the leaderboard, then ta-da! And obviously you can load more if you need to, but when it does build up a bit, because anyone the bot ever notices in the chat will show up in the loyalty list, because it just will. Lol, cake off. Probably true for Ichi. He codes too much. Can probably code a custom module for that one. Incidentally, seeing as that's been raised, we'll go on a complete and utter tangent here. The bot is entirely modular, made up of files, and you can just write your own script if you have the knowledge. I'm not that good with code and scripting, but you can write your own modules and stuff for it. So functionally, anything you want to do, which can be done through chat, can be done, basically. You might just have to write it, but it can be done. And yeah, there are some people who are very much better at writing that sort of thing than others. I'm one of the worst ones. He codes too much is one of the better ones, and there are forums for that sort of thing as well if you want to go and ask nicely. Oh yeah, let's see. Wow, only 2,700 seconds, Colossus. Wow, that's hurtful. Oh no. So, relative to the time system specifically, there's this option of global ranks. So there are various commands, mostly the games, but various commands which will assign like ranking to someone. Most obvious is like, you know, military ranking or whatever, or something like that. And so once you turn it on, add a rank, and you'll get these rank. And this is entirely a title. This confers no permissions or anything. This is entirely cosmetic. Let's say, you know, novice, for example, and you get novice after you've been here for 5 hours. So 5 saved. And you can add multiple of these, and obviously you go to the highest one you've reached automatically, right? So if you do that, anyone who's been in the chat for 5 hours will pick that up. And then as soon as you get to, let's say, 10 hours, I'm very good with names, and so on and so on. Then there is a custom ranking system you can use. Settings are, and you can set it to cost amount in points to set that. Like you can basically buy your own rank with these many points, and the minimum amount of time before they're actually able to do this. So you can't have someone walk in, win on the roulette, buy their own rank. They have to have also been here for 50 hours by default. And then people can set these themselves. And you can also manually set them. So username, Melemony, and Queen Melon. There we are. And you can set that, and you can see these ones here, and you can edit them, and you can delete them if you need to. So yeah, that's the options there. And again, the ranks are entirely cosmetic, 100%. They don't change permissions, they don't change point gain and anything like that. Wow, Colossus, thanks. Screw you. None of that changes. It is entirely a cosmetic thing. Which goes through. Now for one of my favourites, and I'm actually going to flip the quote screen, the quote screen across here to my own bot because it's a bit more interesting. So this is my quotes list because it's a bit more interesting than the empty one. There is a quote command, obviously, in the bot, which can pick up quite a lot of quotes. I haven't currently got 428, and it will keep track. Obviously, it assigns everything a numerical ID. It will automatically pick up when you made it and what game you're playing. By default, there's a bit of a weird one here. My normal quote bot isn't turned on right now, unfortunately. So, well, it is, but it's just muted. Now, by default, it will assume the person who uses the quote command is the one who made the quote. There is, however, a setting, which I believe is a chat command only. I would actually have to go and look it up. It's one of the settings commands. I don't tend to remember them off the top of my head. I think it's quote mode toggle, if I remember correctly. And you have that as then set to have an extra step. So you'll do add quote, person's name, then the actual quote. So, for example, it would be add quote, Mequidor, note, I shall be cremated upon death. I don't wish to become storage. Well, you can also add them directly through here. And obviously then customize the output. So when you actually have a quote response, you can have all of these. So the actual quote, the number of the quote for future location, by so-and-so from this game on this day, is how I have it set up normally. What did I just sort this by? Oh, alphabetical by quote name. And, you can do that. These quotes are entirely searchable. Add quote is one word in this Melemony. But, yeah. It's entirely searchable. And incidentally, there is also a exclamation search quote command, also one word. And you can type in anything and it will search your quote database to find you those numbers. And no, I didn't want to turn this one off. I want to turn this one on. So yeah, we can have those settings. And this is the default, so it's... But again, you can change that if you want to. So yeah, quotes are fun. And generally excellent. And let's be fair, quotes are what make some streams just really funny. Sometimes I collect them. Anyway, moving on, we have keywords. So keywords are basically like commands, only not. You don't need the exclamation. So what you can do with the keywords is literally if someone types something, and this is not a blacklist or anything like that. This is literally just if someone types something in chat, and again, you can use regex for this one as per the checkbox there, then the bot will respond with something. So if we say Melemony as a keyword, because melon for life, there we are. Incidentally, of course, the add quote, remove quote, edit quote commands, you may or may not wish to may want to restrict the add quote command to moderators only. Obviously, that's not working very well in this particular channel today. But yes, given how much of a troll Melemony is. So yeah, incidentally, the quotes will show up your title on there as well. So yeah, and again, you can have the cooldowns. But yeah, jumping back to the keywords, you can add your keyword. You can have your response cooldown so that it's not firing off every few seconds, and if you actually put that keyword in there, so a variable in there, you can do keyword count to see how long often it's been said, and you can have that count. So if we save that and someone actually types Mel's full name in there now, the chat, then you'll get that response. Currently every 5 seconds, but I'm just going to quietly turn it up to 5 minutes because I'm not stupid. And it will do that. That can also, incidentally, be set to be a command. So you should be able to just do that command phantom. I can type PhantomBot and have the keyword there as well. Which brings us on to the important bit. Games. So this very much, for obvious reasons, ties into the points, because a lot of these games, there's no point without the points. Wow, that was a sentence. So what we have here is a variety of games that Code loves most, which are mostly fairly simple. Dice roll is exactly what it is. You roll a dice, and it's literally exclamation roll. Kill command's an interesting one here. And if you get the double ones, for example, the double sixes, this is how many points you get. And again, all of those point values are tailorable, because some people might want to have points being dished out very slowly. Other people may prefer to have, like 10 points, the equivalent of a point a minute, or maybe it's only a point an hour or whatever. So that's all tailorable. Magic 8 Ball does exactly what you think it does, and is literally simple enough that it has no settings. So nice, simple. Russian roulette is a timeout time. So if you do exclamation roulette and lose, it literally times you out for the next 60 seconds. Fortunately, some people survived. Obviously, it can't time out moderators of a streamer, so you are immune to the timeout function there. It will still say that you've lost, it just won't time you out. Gambling, again, it's a game percent. So gambling, you pick a certain amount of points to gamble. If you win, you get that percentage. It does a random number between 0 and 100, so the winning range is 50. So at this point, if you basically roll a D100, you get less than 50, you lose. If you get more than 50, you win and you get 30% back. Also, that limits for how much you can gain at once, so you can't just gamble everything, and a minimum for interest's sake. A few others here. The kill game, you can literally try to kill someone else in chat. It's not literally killing someone else. Please don't ban me, Twitch. But literally, you can either do it with just the exclamation kill and it picks someone. Wow, interesting. If you do kill the name, it will try to do that. Wow, these some awkward lines. If you just do kill on its own, then it has the chance to time you out, and it will do so. Again, not if you're a mod, but you can get timed out for 60 seconds. Right, slot machine, again, it's fairly simple and obvious. You get 5 slots. The more you match, the better you're doing, and the more points you get. It's, again, fairly simple. And then the random command puts a random line in chat. So it's literally just a list of random lines. All of those lines are entirely customizable. I didn't get timed out. It has been timed out. All of those lines are entirely customizable, and you can change them. Adventure is a little more complicated. It's also known as heist in some bots, and you can basically place a stake of how many points you want to put up. You go on an adventure, we'll post several lines in chat. Other people can join the adventure once it's started. You all have your own odds on what you'll get. So the adventure entry message, who's already joined. So for example, if someone starts an adventure, they'll put up a minimum of 10 points. Everyone else will have 60 seconds to join in. They can bet their own number of points. It doesn't have to be the same number. Everyone can bet separately. Then it has its own completely separate cooldown, incidentally. The adventure system sort of ignores the cooldown system. There we are. So K-Cuff's done that. Everyone now gets 60 seconds to join in. If you win, you get 30% back, plus your initial bet. So if you do win, you will always get your initial bet plus 30%. If you lose, well, you lose. And minimum and maximum as well, obviously. And I'm going to let that play out, just so people can see. There's a number of different adventures, and again, they're entirely customizable. You can write your own. There's 4, I think, default ones in the bot. The only disappointing thing I have with the adventure is I asked once if it was possible to make an adventure where there was no win condition, so everyone was inevitably going to die horribly. Apparently that would break the script, which is, yeah, well. But, never mind. And there you are. So you'll get the time, you'll get the adventure, and it will start the name of it, the number of people by who are playing. And it goes through this, and those Doctor Who fans may recognise that particular adventure. Yeah, I mean, it can be done. I'm just lazy, and also don't use the adventure system in my own bot normally because, and you'll see this was going through, and who survived? Everyone survived. Bot is clearly broken. Everyone survived there. You'd have got a separate message if you'd been horribly killed. Or in that particular case, I think your brain gets turned into mush. But yeah, so that's what happens there, and everyone obviously gets their points. Then we come to the giveaway section, which is another of those popular bits, right? So there are 3 types of giveaway bot can do. Raffle is obviously probably the simplest one. So, Melvmelon, let's do a raffle with the keyword Melvmelon. You don't have to necessarily use an exclamation. You can do it as literally just the keyword, or you can do it with the explanation. That's basically optional. If you want to have cost, then you can. If it's points, you have to spend those points. If it's time, you basically, as it says, lock people out to only people who've been here for at least 10 minutes, right? Eligibility, you can make it a sub or follow only raffle as well. Timer is an automatic closure, basically. 0 leaves it till manually. Regulars and subscribers can have customized luck on that one, but 1 is again the default. And then there's a couple of extra settings here for which, more persistent settings, the actual message, and some extra settings about multiple draws, whispering a winner, and the like. And if you open that, officially you get that message. So if you want to enter, you type exclamation Melvmelon, and it will list everyone on the left-hand side there, as you see. And people will pop up there. And because I didn't set a timer, I'm just going to manually close it in a sec. K-Cuff, you spelled it wrong. That's why you haven't shown up there. And then you can manually close. I believe if you draw, it automatically closes it for you. Yep, there you are. The winner of this raffle is Colossus. It doesn't automatically close it. That's slightly surprising. We found a bug, everybody. If you draw before closing, it doesn't work. But you can draw repeatedly. So, where was it? This setting. Allow multiple draws. No. If you have that set as no, then when someone gets drawn as a winner, they get removed from that list. So if I draw again, he codes too much, gets Sweet FA because there's nothing on offer, and gets removed from that list. And then you can just reset it to wipe the whole thing and start again. So obviously that allows for rerolls and the like. If someone says, actually, no, I don't want that, absolutely it's rigged. And you can get warning messages and stuff as well, or just a whisper of the winner to say, congratulations, you've won, if you want to do it quietly, basically. Ticket raffle is a little bit different. It's functionally the same thing. However, you have to buy the tickets. So, and again, you've got your eligibility, everyone or followers. You can set a number of ticket cost. and the total number of tickets. So in this case, by default, you've got up to 100 tickets you can buy. Each ticket costs you 1 point. Some people can just get a straight out multiplier, which so the multiplier, if you buy 50 tickets, for example, and you have a multiplier of 2, it counts for 100 when the draw goes through. So if we just open this now, and if you wish to buy tickets, for example, you do exclamation tickets and then the number that you want to buy, exactly as it says. So you can buy up to 100 points, and it will show everyone's names there. Then you've got the general notices here, the message interval, and the extra settings for warning messages, and you'll see who's bought what there. Lol Rush 69, and so on, and you can just let that roll through. And then, of course, if we close it, we can draw the winner. Who is K-Cuff. Congratulations. It's almost as if you bought more tickets than anyone else, and also this is apparently not connecting, which is random. But yeah. And so on. And this one doesn't have a remove winner because it doesn't work that way. I mean, you can redraw if you need to. Hey, finally won something. Yeah, he bought 100 tickets, so 100 chances. You only had 69 chances. Giggity. And then we can just reset. And again, obviously, you can customize the messages which appear. You can customize the details of the tickets and stuff. You might only have 10 tickets max, but they cost 20 each or something, etc. Then you have the auction, which is a little bit different. I haven't used the auction for a long time, so I'm probably going to get this bit wrong. But yeah, it's if you wish to bet, and I believe the option is literally bet, then you can. And it's a case of we have this awesome, almost empty can of Coke, hashtag not spawn, available. Who wants it? And it is based on points basically. So you have the time it's going to be open and who's eligible, and then an absolute minimum you can bet for. Why don't I just open it and we'll watch what happens? An absolute minimum bid. Sorry, not bad. And then the actual increments. So Russia's bet 69. Bid, and you have to bid above the last one, and obviously it shows the top there. Yes, I want to type that. Bid 100, and suddenly I'm a top bidder. Ta-da! Get wrecked. It has to be above the last highest bid. It's not adding; it's the total you want to bid for. And then for each you got to 101 first, and it's an auction. It's exactly what you think it would be. And then Freachy wins that auction. Congratulations, Freachy. I'll be sure to give this to you next time we meet. It's fairly simple. It's an auction. You have to obviously have at least have that number of points available. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to enter. This tab is basically it's just a history tab for information. So it's basically just watching the tips you get in, which requires you to have had one of those tipping services linked, hosts and raids just incoming or outgoing, so you can see how many times you've raided someone. If you use, I believe the outgoing raids has to be if you use the built-in raid command. It doesn't register it otherwise. But yeah, and you have those, and you can obviously just sort and filter and search through those, and it's just back-end information effectively in case you do want to review those numbers. And there's a couple of extras down here which are actually really quite useful for various things. The history only picks up it will only pick stuff up when you're history. So the history will pick up names and dates, and I actually found a bug in this recently whereby it's filtering by the number of the date there as opposed to actually filtering it properly. Which is a bug I should probably really get around to reporting. But it filters by the first number of the date, not reverse with the year first. Currently, I haven't reported that one yet. Colossus. But anyway, it does specifically register your incoming raids and stuff, and it will do that properly, and it will show those up. on there. Yes. Wow, fine. Be that way, Colossus. So well. There is. So yeah, there's a few extra features in the bot here. Not really. Almost extra doesn't quite make sense, but the things which do one thing, I don't really have another section to go in. So the dual stream one is fairly obvious. If you're doing a multi-stream, it will give you a link. Puts your name in the beginning there, straight out. Let's actually type PhantomBot. And you can set that up. You can have a timer on there. So it will automatically just fire every 20 minutes after 10 messages, much like timers. Log Colossus. And then you obviously have commands like multi. And it will fire that off and on the timer. Lol rush. And that fired off the timer and from a command there, hence why it went through. And again, obviously, you can customize what it actually says there. Speaking of PhantomBot, thank you for the host. Def counter, which we sort of looked at earlier with the language file. And again, this can obviously all be done through chat commands as well, but increase, decrease, reset. The def counter is actually sort of interesting because the def counter will keep track per game. So like we can set that up to 8 here, and if I change game, that will reset when it picks it up. Obviously, that will reset to 0, and you can start from there. So you can keep it going over the course of the game. You don't have to think about resetting it each time. It does also have a browser source URL, which in this particular case I'm not too bothered about showing because it's a test bot, which again, localhost, etc. And this is what you would embed into OBS. It is literally a number, and so on. But yeah, and then the def total there. Or XSplit, yeah, but really. And yeah, you can do that. And obviously there's commands in there. I actually don't use it for def counter in my stream. I rewrote the entire language file and use it as a fail counter. And then aliased all the commands and so on to basically completely change its use, which shows you how customizable the bot is, because I don't use it for defs. Yeah, there is a built-in highlight marker, highlight set. So you can basically put a highlight with a note. And you can have a highlight with a brief detail of thing about a fail counter, because why not? I can type something about fail counter, and you can save that there. And as you can see, what it's just put in chat there. Wow. Highlight the stream sucks. Wow. And now you know why we have the command level. So yeah, highlight successfully saved the timestamp of 125. And it has not actually updated that there, which is slightly strange. Which is strange because I actually used this recently and it was working then. Probably I broke everything. But you can see it will highlight. It will make a highlight, and it should if it was working. We found a bug, Colossus. Bug fixing live. And it will generate the URL for you. No, I know why. It's because it doesn't have permissions to add the marker. Because it's not using my OAuth token. I basically broke it when I did the setup. I didn't copy my OAuth token across specifically for this. For my account, it's done for bot one. I didn't do it for my account. I just left that as blank because I wasn't using the advanced features, and therefore it can't make the marker. That's why that's not working. That's not actually broken. That's because I left that stage out when I was setting it up. Please don't shoot. That will set that up with the date, obviously. The URL, it should automatically fix that, and the comment so you can know, so you know what was actually happening. Betting is an interesting one. Betting's sometimes fun. And it's literally a case of which character is going to die first, or which route do you think the streamer will take down this option. That it's that sort of thing, and whether the bots are saved or not, bets are saved, warning messages, etc. If you win, you get that percentage gain. You also have a bit more options here. So, who gets timed out first? And we'll have Colossus, Dakota, which is a very, very rigged bet when there's mods in the channel who totally wouldn't, arrange that to their own liking. And you have a minimum bet and a maximum bet. If you want to set a maximum, you don't have to set a maximum. And then the timer, which let's just set it for 2 minutes. Fine, 3 minutes. I can aim at a keyboard. And that will just run there. And we'll see what happens to that one and maybe come back later. And yeah, so bet. Wow. All of these 3-letter B challenges. You first, like, people who actually use this bot are getting a command the wrong way around. So currently it looks like it's Dakota. We'll see how that goes. And what happens by the end. And while that's running, we also have polls, which are like bets, but not. Polls don't require that, and it's like, who should I actually time out first? And then again, you can have Colossus, Dakota, comma separated. You can have a timer or manually closed, so we can leave that one for... Yeah, it's a vote system, as Russia said there. And you can also set a minimum number of votes. So, for example, this poll will not be valid unless at least 3 people vote, for example. And there we are. Poll started. Dum, 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 dum. And again, you can vote there, and it's just exclamation vote, space, then a number. And again, this won't be valid unless at least 3 people vote. And there we are. Oh, wow. Wow. You're also nice. You vote by number, K-Cuff, not by name in this one. Well, I see how it is. And this will, again, close after... I think I set it to 60 seconds, didn't I? And again, that will just close once it's finished. And the last simple feature, for want of a better way of putting it, that we have, I'm going to let that go through in chat anyway, is the queue list. You don't get to vote multiple times, goes too much. Who should I actually type? Of course, who should I actually type out first? Has it ended in a tie? Of course it has. So... And I'm going to do this through here now. Yes, I want to tie, and it will show you. You actually managed to tie that, really? That's... Should I just time out both of you? Problem is, we don't really have a winner here. So if we close, which nobody. I'm going to say Dakota because I can. Oh yeah. And then everyone who voted for Dakota wins their points for that one. It's like, wow, disappointing. But anyway, to jump back to the... I didn't time anyone out. It's fine. It was a draw. Who should I actually time out? The queue system. So... the queue system is mostly designed for people who maybe are doing games with viewers, and it's like you have a fire team or in Destiny or whatever it's called in Warframe, like the teams, like the squad, whatever. And if it's just a case of, let's say, playing games with subscribers, and it's like fire team queue, for example, you can put a cost on it, and you can also set a max size. Let's say 10. Open, and it basically just lets you join the queue to put yourself in a list which people don't have to go through. So in this case, subscribers would be... I'm going to change it down to viewers because... There we are. Oh, whoops. Or game list, whatever. So you will enter queue, and then if you want to, you can put your gamer tag in there if you need it. You don't have to, because... it might not be relevant, but if you want to, then you can add that so people can find you, and you can get that use list there. So you'll see he codes too much will show up with join queue is still on cooldown. That might be one to fix. You might want to set a custom cooldown on that. Why is that not letting you join multiple times? Why did that not add decoder? Probably because you screwed it up. Then you can draw, and you can actually draw more than one person at once. So it's like, cool, we've got 3 people here. Let's say we're playing Destiny, fire team of 3, so I want to draw 2 names out of the hat. All of which can be done through chat command as well. So draw 2 names, rush, and he codes too much suddenly. And obviously, Kickoff stays in there for the next round, and etc. Close the queue if you get too many. And obviously, you can rewrite this to not be the gamer tag. You could rewrite it to be a song request queue or I can't actually think of any examples other than that. But, stuff like, you can rewrite the language file if you want to. That's what that localization setting is for down there. And you can rewrite that to say however you want to. Beat Saber song request. Very well, Russia's got an idea. Good idea. And you can do stuff like that. You can only enter the queue once, so it sort of self-limits itself. And obviously you've got that user level and the cost, so you can queue to get a chance to bank losses. You can set all of those, and you can still draw that from the queue after it's being closed. And yeah, you can just do that. Then comes to the interesting section. Not the song request one, that was not the one I was going for, because there's a song request section which I'm not going to cover here because it's sort of messy. And you have additional setup, and as it says, there's instructions on the forum. I am, however, going to go to the audio hooks panel on this panel. There we are. So you can add audio commands, which normally I have these running in chat, not currently, for reasons. Now there is a browser source you can put straight into OBS, so they just automatically play straight through that. And so you have that option to just do it through that, or if you keep this panel open, it will also, no, it won't always play through here. No, you do just have to have a browser source. They changed that, but you can manually add commands here. So you have 2 pages of this. You have the actual list of audio hooks, which is what we call them, not sound files, because that would be creative, right? And you've got the browser source link there. And it is literally just this capture here. So you've got allow audio hooks, yes. Allow alerts, false, because I don't use the GIF alerts. And then you can also set the volume. So I have this set to 80% on the audio hook volume. And now I haven't actually embedded the audio hook thing into the stream today because that would be a bad idea. But you basically have all of these sound commands that I have added. You can play any of them from here as well. So, for example, boop. Wow, I heard that. Boop. And you'll hear that play, and that was probably a bit loud. You can also then tie them to specific commands. So these are all my subscriber commands, basically. So if we look at challenge, and we can go into edit that, it's the name of it, the audio hook it plays, and it's a subscriber level with a cooldown because I'm not stupid. So you've got those options there, and that's a global cooldown. So any subscriber can type challenge and it will play that sound, but no more than once every 3 minutes. And so on. Was that very loud? My apologies. Why was that so loud? I know why that was so loud. It's because I was playing it through here, not through the thing. That's my fault. But yeah, you can play through any of them, and again, adding a command, it's entirely simple. It's yay, pick an audio hook, and it will just give you the list, and then the permission level, and all of those settings. The other thing to consider with this is, where is it? You can update these live. There is a specific what am I trying to think of? Word folder for the audio hooks, and it just looks at them. So if you change the contents of it, you can just refresh the list, and you can do that basically without having to reload the entire bot. Yeah, the volume is in the link for the... Ooh. So if we look at this and look at the end, audio hook volume 0.8. But because it's playing through the panel, it did not respect that volume level. And that is basically how that works. Which does sort of actually bring us to the bit where we've run out of things to talk about. What won't work for hosting it in a server? Suddenly confused. Volume link. The song request page. Yep, one sec. Let me see if I can find that. I want this one, I think. You are talking about this one, aren't you, Dakota? So yeah, the bot is designed to be run from a server. The bot is designed to be run either remotely or whatever. This link that I was using was, or the link for this bot is localhost because it's running off my computer. The bot for the song request. Let's see. Yeah, you can run from a server software just designed for use by broadcaster only. Song request, not a playlist. Oh, right. Where are we? Panel. Yeah, sorry, right. So I haven't actually set this up for YouTube, so it won't actually work. But what you will get here is obviously you've got your queue, you've got your playlist, and it comes with a default playlist, which is literally not loaded. It's this one, I think. Wow, you don't want to load a playlist. I don't use the YouTube viewer, so it's not one I tend to deal with, and also because you have to get your own API key, I have not set that bit up in advance. Oh, yeah, the module won't be enabled. Wow, really? Module settings, Twitch, YouTube. That would probably help. Oh yeah, fixed it. And you can get the bot set up. And again, like I said, I have not set this up specifically, but it does have the playlist options. You have the song request, and it will play. Can't enable module up key. That would make sense. Same as Discord. Like I said, this one isn't my section of expertise because I don't use the YouTube bit of it. I can do the rest of it, just not this bit. Should we play a blank video? But yeah, you can have that, and it can have the video, and it can have the sound. And the YouTube player is moderately complicated, but it will work if you actually set it up in advance. But yeah, that's the other thing. It's also coded to auto disable. If I refresh this page now, settings, modules, YouTube, it does still show as it does probably just on startup because it's still enabled there. But yeah, that is the default stuff that comes in the bot. There's a tab you're not seeing on this bot, which you see down here. If I pop this out, you've got Discord here, which is extra stuff it can do if you set that up to integrate, but it sort of requires additional setup. You have to have a Discord app to do it. There's obviously the YouTube player, which requires a bit of extra setup, and which is entirely doable, and there are guides to all of those on the forums. Fairly simple. But again, slightly outside the scope of this particular thing. Yeah, and that, I think, covers it. Are there any questions I have not seen? I don't think so. Yeah, I think that covers everything. The only thing left to cover, I suppose, then, is the technical background something, which is to say, if we go back to this here, this is the command line we were looking at to start with, and obviously you can see everything is regex. No, I said I'm not going to explain it because it's sort of overcomplicated, and it gives me a headache trying to think about it, let alone explain it. And regex is sort of general. Hi, Freichi, what is your question? But yeah, if you look through this, you can see, firstly, the chat it's processing and passing. Lol, Feature, new build when. Also, for example, the error regarding the YouTube API key. And when it comes up with these errors, it does actually tell you where to go. And so on. And it has all of these histories and all of the commands which get run and the like. Oh yeah, the password to this was new build when, right? Incidentally, this window needs to be running for the bot to run. So the mistake I actually made when I first started using this was that I ran the setup thing and then closed this window. Why isn't it working? If you have this window not running, it doesn't work. And when you are done, basically, so you could have a panel as well. The panel won't run without the bot being running, so we can show that easily enough if I do that. There are ways to run it with a service in the background, which again is more advanced use. This is for the basic setup, but yeah, there's entirely ways to do that. Like I said, I run mine, like I said at the beginning, on a virtual private server. It doesn't run off my machine. It runs 24/7. That window doesn't need to be there. But yeah, like if you close the bot out, then first of all, you want to be closing it. You can just close this window. That's probably a bad idea. Well, no, that's a bad idea. But it's very simple. It's exit. It will do its little shutdown sequence. Oh, is it ignoring me? Wow, it's ignoring me. There we are. Now it's going. And it will do its shutdown. It will disconnect from everything properly. Waiting for everything to shut down. And gone. And that just shuts itself down. And if we now look at this particular screen again, and what we will find in the top right hand corner is a big red error saying connection lost, the panel will not work, the bot will no longer be paying attention in chat. Yeah, Control-C slows it down or whatever, and it still can't connect. So that's also a thing to be aware of, but again, if you want to, I've lost the folder window, start it up again, you literally just need to click to launch again, and suddenly it's back. And that's ready to go. Ta-da. But yeah, I don't think I've seen any questions I've missed, so hopefully all is well. Yeah. Goody. Press any key to continue. Pressed. So yeah, that's a thing.